What happens when a harmless late-night joke lands just a little too close to the truth, and the smile meant to hide it slips on live television? The studio lights glow warmly, bright against the sleek backdrop, the audience clapping, cameras sliding smoothly, the band playing its opening riff. Before we go any further, if you love cinematic celebrity moments, unscripted tension, and stories that feel bigger than the headlines, make sure you subscribe to Prime Tale, like this video, and drop a comment right now telling us what you think is about to happen, because this night changed everything. Emily Blunt walks out to applause that feels both thunderous and intimate, reserved for someone whose presence alone commands attention. She carries the poise of someone who has rehearsed every smile, every movement, yet also the authenticity of a person who knows she can't fake everything. She settles into her chair with effortless grace, crossing her legs, her fingers interlaced, eyes scanning the studio with a mix of curiosity and calm control. Jimmy Kimmel rises to greet her, his trademark grin already in place. The cameras pan between them, catching that brief, perfect tension where scripted entertainment meets the unpredictable human moment. To the audience, this is safe, comfortable. Two pros exchanging light banter under bright lights. "Emily," Jimmy begins, leaning forward slightly, "you always seem so calm, so composed. Is that real, or are you secretly judging all of us right now?" The audience laughs, as does Emily, but there's a flicker in her eyes, barely noticeable, a microsecond where the practiced smile tightens. "Oh, I'm absolutely judging you," she replies, dry, measured, sharp. Laughter erupts again, louder. Jimmy feigns offense. "See? I knew it." They volley effortlessly. Emily recounts a humorous anecdote about her children. Jimmy chimes in with exaggerated chaos of parenthood. The band punctuates with a playful rimshot. Everything seems perfect, until it doesn't. Jimmy glances at his card, almost imperceptibly, and his next question lands differently. "So, Emily," he says, voice light, "you've played some incredibly strong women, leaders, warriors, geniuses. Do you ever feel pressure to always be perfect? Especially when people expect so much from you." The audience chuckles lightly, but the laughter is thinner this time. Emily's smile tightens just a touch, her hands folded more firmly in her lap. She inhales slowly. "I think," she says carefully, "pressure comes with any job where people are watching." Jimmy nods, leaning in slightly, encouraging her. Because fans online can be intense. They dissect everything. Your looks, your choices, even what you say in interviews like this. A murmur runs through the crowd. Recognition. Emily tilts her head, her practiced smile intact but sharper now. "Yes," she says simply. "They can." There's a beat. Jimmy chuckles, trying to diffuse the subtle tension. "I mean, they're already clipping this for TikTok, probably." The audience laughs again, but Emily doesn't. Her eyes fix on Jimmy, and for a heartbeat, the friendly banter feels different. Something unscripted has slipped in. "You know," she says, calm but deliberate, "what people don't always realize is that those comments don't just disappear when the camera turns off." The room hushes slightly. Even the band pauses. Jimmy shifts in his chair, sensing the shift. "Sure, but you seem like someone who doesn't let that stuff get to you." Emily raises an eyebrow, subtle, challenging. "Do I?" Her question hangs there, suspended. The audience laughs nervously, unsure if this is part of the bit. Jimmy smiles, but it doesn't quite reach his eyes. "Well, you handle it better than most," he says cautiously. Emily exhales softly, a small, audible breath. "I think what we call handling it is often just staying quiet. And silence can look like strength, until it doesn't." A few audience members clap tentatively. Others follow. Jimmy raises his hands. "Hey, fair point. Fair point." He presses on. "Still, you've got a thick skin, right? You kind of have to in Hollywood." The smile leaves Emily's face, not dramatically, not angrily. It just disappears. Her gaze narrows slightly, thoughtful, focused. "Thick skin isn't armor," she says, her voice quiet but carrying. "It's scar tissue." A soft gasp echoes. The band stops. The audience leans in. Jimmy freezes mid-smile. "That's poetic," he says, half laughing, half stunned. "It's honest," Emily replies. The room holds its breath. This is no longer about promoting a film. This is raw, unfiltered truth landing under the brightest lights. Emily leans forward slightly, mirroring Jimmy's posture from earlier. The power dynamic shifts, not aggressively, but unmistakably. When you joke about it, or frame it as something we should just endure, it minimizes what people actually go through, she continues. Especially women. A hush falls. The audience is fully invested. Jimmy clears his throat. I didn't mean. I know, Emily says gently. But intent doesn't erase impact. Silence, then applause. Real applause this time, loud, deliberate. Jimmy nods, absorbing it. I appreciate you saying that, he says, softer. Her smile returns, faint, human. The cameras keep rolling. Everyone backstage feels it. The room has changed. Twitter notifications already flicker in the shadows. Clips are being cut. Captions drafted. Emily Blunt shuts down Jimmy Kimmel. Awkward moment goes viral. Tension beneath the smiles. But in this moment, none of that exists. There's just the quiet understanding that sometimes, a single sentence on live television can shift the room entirely. Jimmy attempts to redirect smoothly. So, your new film. Emily laughs softly, easing him back into rhythm, and the audience exhales collectively. But the shift remains, subtle yet undeniable. Because once a smile cracks under truth, everyone notices. And no one forgets. As the band swells, the applause takes on a new tone, charged, alive, aware. Somewhere off camera, a producer whispers, that clip's going to explode. They have no idea how right they are. And this is only the beginning. The applause fades, but the energy in the studio lingers like electricity after a sudden storm. The room feels different now, charged, aware, as if everyone knows they've just witnessed something unscripted and unforgettable. Jimmy shuffles his notes, buys himself a small moment, and flashes a grin that normally resets the room. Tonight, it only half works. So, he says, attempting lighter tones, your new film. I hear you learned a completely new accent for it. Emily laughs softly, the charm returning just enough to give the audience relief. The laughter ripples through the studio, polite, familiar, but the undercurrent remains. Something heavier. The smiles are back, yes, but they sit atop something no one can name, a tension hiding just beneath the surface. She speaks about her preparation, the dialect coach, the strange thrill of hearing her own voice in playback. Funny, relatable, effortlessly captivating. Yet she occasionally glances at Jimmy, who feels it. The subtle shift in the room, the silent awareness that they are navigating more than a movie promotion tonight. Jimmy leans in, sensing the moment, deciding to address it carefully. He says, trying to normalize the air. People watching at home might be thinking, wow, that got real. The audience chuckles lightly, but it's hesitant. Emily tilts her head slightly. Did it? She asks, calm but probing. Jimmy smiles, softer this time. A little. Her smile is controlled, measured, not dismissive, but revealing that she's aware of the shift. Maybe that's okay, she replies. And in that small sentence, the atmosphere changes. She has quietly taken ownership of the moment, grounding it, turning attention from discomfort to reflection. The audience senses it. The applause that follows is warm, appreciative, not just polite. Jimmy nods, acknowledging the shift. He tries again, gently. I guess what I meant earlier is that fame comes with the territory. People watching, judging, it's baked in. Emily's gaze narrows, slightly, measured. Yes, she says. And so are conversations like this. That's baked in too. A few audience members murmur their agreement. The energy is different now. Charged. Real. Alive. Jimmy chuckles, easing the tension with a hint of levity. Well, I didn't expect my therapy session to be live on air tonight. The audience laughs, Emily included, but her laughter doesn't fully mask the edge beneath it. She leans back slightly, arms resting lightly. It's interesting, she observes, how quickly we joke when things get uncomfortable. The audience reacts immediately. Nervous laughter turns to thoughtful murmurs. Jimmy nods, impressed. You're not wrong, he admits. Her voice softens. I'm not trying to make a point at your expense, she says, even as her eyes meet his. I'm trying to make it visible. Because when people like us, people with platforms, gloss over it, it tells everyone else to do the same. Silence stretches for a heartbeat. It isn't awkward. It's intentional. Audience members lean forward. Every camera angle seems to linger a fraction longer. Jimmy shifts in his chair, realizing this moment is no longer a performance. It's a conversation. Okay, he says carefully. I think that's fair. Emily smiles faintly. We can move on, she offers, easing the tension while maintaining her stance. Jimmy exhales. Thank you. But then, almost reflexively, he adds, You're very good at this. Emily's eyebrows rise slightly. At what? Handling it, he says, light but honest. The audience tenses again. This is the pivotal moment. She can soften it, laugh it off, or pivot it to something deeper. I'm good at surviving it, she says calmly. There's a difference. The applause starts, building quickly, first hesitant, then swelling as the room fully acknowledges the weight of her words. Jimmy nods, silent, absorbing it. When the clapping dies down, he leans forward, his voice soft now. Okay, let me ask you this. What would you want people to truly understand? Emily blinks, surprised but ready. That confidence doesn't mean immunity, she says. That humor doesn't cancel hurt. And that just because we can laugh on cue doesn't mean we aren't listening when the room goes quiet. The room is still. The band holds its chords. Every eye is on her. Jimmy exhales, nods slowly. That's powerful, he admits. Emily shrugs lightly, almost embarrassed by the weight of her words. It's just real. For the rest of the interview, the dynamic shifts. Jimmy lets her guide the rhythm. He listens more than he talks. When he jokes, he pauses, watching her carefully. The audience notices. The crew notices. The difference is subtle, but unmistakable. Backstage, phones vibrate. Clips are already being edited. Producers whisper. This is trending before it's even live. Emily remains composed, laughing at moments when appropriate, but the gravity of the conversation lingers. Every frame of her face, every slight tilt of her head, is being shared online. Captions are drafted. Emily Blunt shuts down Jimmy Kimmel. Tension beneath the smiles. Live TV moment goes viral. When the interview ends, Jimmy stands, shaking her hand a little longer than usual. Thank you, he says quietly off mic. Emily smiles faintly. Thank you for hearing it. They part amicably. No drama, no shouting. Just acknowledgement. But as Emily walks off stage, the applause is louder, fuller, thoughtful. Not just for the interview, but for what it revealed. And outside the studio walls, the internet has already begun to shape the story. Clips spread. Reactions multiply. The moment, small in the studio, grows vast in the digital world. The night is far from over. The ripples have only just begun. The cameras cut away, but the moment doesn't end. It mutates. Applause swells as the show moves on, a reflex more than a reaction. Margot rises from her chair when the segment wraps, thanking the co-hosts with practiced politeness. Joy offers a quick smile, tight, professional, unreadable. They exchange a few words no microphone catches. Whatever is said, it doesn't soften anything. Backstage, the air hums. Assistants whisper. Producers replay the last 5 minutes on monitors, eyes darting between screens and phones already vibrating with alerts. Someone mutters, "It's trending." Someone else says, "Which clip?" The answer comes fast, all of them. Margot walks down the corridor, heels clicking, shoulders squared. She exhales for the first time since sitting down. Her publicist keeps pace, speaking in low tones about statements and schedules and not feeding the fire. Margot nods, but her face is calm now, resolved. She knows what she said. She knows why she said it. That's enough. On the other side of the building, Joy adjusts her jacket, the studio lights finally off her. A producer asks if she's okay. "I'm fine," she says, waving it off. It's live TV. But even she knows this wasn't just live TV. This was a spark. Within minutes, clips flood social media. Tight edits, dramatic captions, slowed down pauses with bold text flashing. A boundary. Performing activism. I don't owe proof. The comments come in waves. Applause emojis collide with angry threads. Think pieces begin forming before the show even finishes, airing on the West Coast. Fans dissect Margot's expressions frame by frame. Supporters praise her composure, her refusal to play along, her insistence on boundaries. Critics accuse her of dodging, of privilege, of hiding behind eloquence. Hashtags split cleanly down the middle, each side convinced the other missed the point entirely. Media outlets jump in fast. Headlines sharpen the edges. Tension explodes on daytime TV. When questions cross the line. A star pushes back, live. Panels debate tone. Op-eds argue intent. Everyone has a take. The next morning, Joy's remarks are replayed on morning radio shows, late-night monologues, podcasts hungry for controversy. Some hosts applaud her for asking hard questions. Others question the framing, the pressure, the choice to turn a personal line of inquiry into a public trial. Joy listens to none of it directly, but the noise reaches her anyway. It always does. Margot releases a brief statement, measured, calm, unbothered. She thanks the show for the invitation. She reiterates her belief in thoughtful engagement over performative spectacle. No apologies. No clarifications. Just a line drawn in ink. The audience reaction grows louder as the day stretches on. Fans share personal stories about being expected to explain themselves on demand. Others argue that visibility demands accountability. The conversation spreads beyond Margot and Joy, beyond the show itself. It becomes about pressure and platforms, about who gets questioned and how, about the thin line between accountability and ambush. By evening, the clip has millions of views. And then something unexpected happens. In a quiet corner of the internet, a long thread gains traction, not defending, not condemning, just unpacking. It talks about boundaries, about generational expectations, about the cost of constant scrutiny. It ends with a simple sentence that gets shared more than any hot take that day. You can ask hard questions without making someone prove their worth. The next week, when Margot steps onto another set, the questions are different. Still sharp, still thoughtful, but the tone has shifted. A lesson, perhaps, not learned by everyone, but learned by enough. As for Joy, she returns to her table with the same confidence she's always had. She jokes about the unpredictability of live TV. She defends the importance of tough conversations. She doesn't walk anything back. She doesn't need to. The debate is already bigger than either of them now. That's the thing about moments like this. They don't belong to the people inside them for very long. They belong to the audience, to the viewers who watched a smile freeze, to the ones who felt the room tighten, to those who saw a boundary named out loud, live, with no rehearsal and no safety net. So now it's your turn. Did Joy push too far? Or did Margot refuse a necessary conversation? Was it accountability? Or was it pressure disguised as curiosity? Tell us what you think in the comments. Share this story with someone who needs to see it. And if you want more explosive, cinematic moments where live TV goes off script, subscribe to Prime Tale, because the next confrontation is always just one question away. By the next morning, the moment has taken on a life of its own. What began as a subtle pause on a late-night couch has grown into a conversation spanning timelines, group chats, and living rooms. Emily Blunt's words are everywhere. Slowed down, zoomed in, analyzed frame by frame. People don't just hear her, they feel her. Talk shows replay the clip. Podcasts dissect it. Social media explodes. Comments flood in. This reminded me of being laughed off at work. Finally, someone said it out loud. That pause gave me chills. The applause from that night has multiplied into thousands of voices, each echoing the tension, the honesty, the courage to speak even when it's uncomfortable. Emily watches none of it in real time. She sits quietly at home, letting the moment settle. No posts, no statements. Just reflection. Relief. Relief that she didn't soften the truth, that she didn't laugh it away. She allowed the weight of her words to stand. Jimmy Kimmel follows the aftermath too. He scrolls through posts, watches reactions, feels the pulse of the audience in a way only live TV can generate. He adjusts his approach in later episodes, more careful, more present, more self-aware. When he jokes now, it carries humility, acknowledgement. The audience notices. They appreciate it. The subtext is unmistakable. He's learned. He's aware. Journalists attempt to reignite controversy, but Emily remains calm. When asked if Jimmy owes her an apology, she simply says, "I don't think everything needs to be framed as a fight." Her calm, honest answer spreads further than the soundbite. People respond. They share stories of resilience, of quiet endurance, of unspoken struggles. What started as a brief moment on a late-night show has become a cultural conversation. The quote that defined it all, "Thick skin isn't armor. It's scar tissue," is now printed in headlines, shared in captions, whispered in conversations far beyond Hollywood. It resonates because it's real, raw, and unflinchingly human. Emily's smile during the interview, once thought routine, is now understood differently. It was not a mask, but a carefully held truth. The tension beneath it reminds everyone that live television is alive, unpredictable, and capable of revealing more than scripted moments ever could. And as the story circulates online, one question lingers. What happens when someone chooses honesty over comfort? The answer is visible. It sparks reflection. It inspires conversation. It changes the room. It changes the internet. Now it's your turn. Did Emily Blunt say what needed to be said? Was the tension uncomfortable or necessary? Do moments like this change conversations or simply expose them? Backhand index pointing down, share your opinion in the comments below. And if you want more cinematic, intense, emotional celebrity stories that go off script, make sure you subscribe to Prime Tale, because the most unforgettable moments are the ones that reveal truth beneath the smiles.